Welcome, my friends. Hello, is it me you're looking for when you're walking out that door? Hello. Yo, you could really get away with saying some creepo shit in songs back in the day, couldn't you? I'm playing. Chill. It's your boy Phantm Phantm, Phantmphuego. Hello. Is it me you're looking for when you're walking out the door? Hello. Hello. Chill. Lionel Richie to go, bro. I'm playing. I'm motherfucking playing. I'm just happy to be back, man. Back at it. Had to take a little extra day just to really enjoy the fact that, man, this is season mother freaking 2, y'all. Season mother freaking 2. Dos. Numero dos. Season número 2. Season 2. Episode 1. Like, we back at episode 1 all over again. It feel like the baby just, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. For those that don't know, the show's official launch date was like 5/22. So, had to take that data. Hey. Down. Hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Hey, black folks be birds spilling their drinks. Hey, and the macaroni and cheese falling on the floor. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We getting down. It's a celebration. Feeling good. Back and I'm feeling so good. Back like you wishing you would. Back like I'm feeling so great. Leaving nothing on my plate. Yeah, eat it, gobble it up. Eat it, gobble it up. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Phantm Phantm, Phantmphuego, and you are now tuned into the news, views, previews, and reviews with just the twist of his ghetto point of view, mother. It feels good. Oh man, it's gonna be a dope show. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys so much for rocking and vibing as always. Please continue to send the love. There was so many people that sent out some love for the anniversary. Please continue. If you haven't had a chance to send your gift or your donation yet and you was thinking about it, it ain't never too late. The PayPal is paypal.me/PhantmPhuego, paypal.me/Phantm, Phantm, Fuego, Phuego, and of course the Venmo is Phantm, Phantm -Fuego, Phuego -42. You guys are awesome. We gonna jump into a dope show. We gonna take a quick break real quick, and then we gonna get into the first topic of season 2. Y'all, I'm so hyped. Let's go. Y'all make this such a pleasure and a joy to do, man. Y'all really do. I have the greatest audience in the world. I couldn't do anything if it wasn't for y'all. Please continue to tell a friend. Wednesdays and Sundays is when we get to it. You know how we do it. It ain't nothing to it. We'll be back. Yeah. Yeah, we back, gangsters. As always, if there's any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, you know where to reach us. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. HISGHETTOPOINT. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. It's going to be an exciting season. I have a ton of guests lined up, ton of amazing interviews. I'm going to bring you guys some advances to how the show is done as well, but I don't want to get into too many things. I don't want to talk about nothing. I just want to make it manifest, and hopefully y'all enjoy it, but I'm sure y'all will. Please continue to donate. PayPal.me/PhantomFuego, PHANTM as every single penny, nickel, and dime donated truly is appreciated. It's humbly appreciated. It so helps, and it allows us to keep moving this thing forward and taking this thing to the levels that we know it can go. Also, Venmo at Phantm, PHANTM -Fuego, PHUEGO -42. That the number 4, the number 2. So that's Phantm -Fuego -42. Super appreciate the love, gang. All right, so with all that being said, let's jump into the first story of the day, man. I mean, it's a lot going on in the world. The playoffs is heating up in the NBA. It's looking real nice. It's looking real spicy. Who you guys got coming out the East? Who you guys got coming out the East? I'm going to tell you, listen, you heard it here first. Well, maybe not hit first, but I really wholeheartedly have this Philadelphia 76ers coming out the East. What? Yo, you sound crazy. The Nets is cooking. Yo, boy, ain't you from Brooklyn? Yo, boy, how you sound? You ain't got neither one of the New York teams coming out the East? What are you doing? What are you talking about? First of all, chill, y'all. Chill. Let's unpack some things here. You know what I'm saying? First of all, this is his ghetto point of view, not your ghetto point of view. But secondly, rim shots. Secondly, yeah, I mean, listen. First of all, y'all might think I sound crazy, but I think they're gonna regret LaMarcus Aldridge having to retire. With LaMarcus Aldridge playing the 5 or interchanging with DeAndre Jordan and Kevin Garnett at the 5-4, depending on what KG want to play. Because, I mean, let's be honest. If you have Kevin Durant and LaMarcus Aldridge on the court together, or Kevin Durant, LaMarcus Aldridge, and DeAndre Jordan on the court together, if you get really tall, like KD could play the 3, LaMarcus Aldridge could play the 4, DeAndre Jordan could play the 5, DeAndre Jordan could play the 4, LaMarcus Aldridge could play the 5, LaMarcus Aldridge could play the 5, KD could play the 3, KD could play the 3, 4, and 5. Like, KD could play the 5, LaMarcus Aldridge play the 4. Then DeAndre Jordan would be kind of the odd man out. Okay, when they're all 3 on the court, you have to play KD at the 3, obviously. When it's LA and KD on the court, then you can play KD 3, 4, and 5 and just keep moving LaMarcus Aldridge around between the 5 and the 4, depending on which. Like, y'all could literally set it up like different plays of the game to play. But fuck it, they got Blake Griffin too, right? So it's like, I'm not really. Come on. But I think at some point their goal was to have LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Durant, and Blake Griffin be that 3, 4, 5 combination that is just insanely interchangeable and so scary, because LA could play 4, 5, Blake Griffin could play 3, 4, Kevin Durant could play 3, 4, 5, Blake Griffin could also play the 5 in some tight spots. I mean, it's just really how the ball comes down. What play you set up? Like, let's say they ran horns. Could you imagine Kevin Durant being your 7-foot point guard and you run horns? Horns is a play, guys, for those that don't really understand, like, the plays of basketball. When you see, like, 2 players, generally it'll be the big men, like the power forwards or the centers, or the center in the small forward, or the power forward in the small forward, etc. It could even be set up with 2 guards, but any of the 2 players, but it's generally ran with the big men. Any 2 players that go to, like, the points, like the think about if you've ever seen a basketball court, you see the free throw line. There's two sharp corners, the two corners edges at the upper part of the free throw line. The two corner edges of the free throw line. Boom, you have two players stand right there. They're kind of making what you if you add them and you look at them plus the player standing at the top of the 3-point line of the key, it kind of makes a bull's head. So, it's called horns because it kind of looks like a bull's, a bull's face. And then, depending on that, you have two screens and you have two screening options that you could come off. You could come off left, have a screen right there, have the play on the right, roll under to the rim, boom, hit him with the ball. There's so many options that come off when you start really getting into the offenses of basketball and, seeing how those offenses play in. Oh man, don't get me nerding out on actual, plays. Like, I don't know a lot of offensive systems. Don't get me sitting here acting like I know every single offensive system, but I've started to appreciate learning actual offensive systems just because it makes looking at the game of basketball much more interesting on a different level when you actually understand the systems they're running. One day I'm going to be a coach, yeah. One day. I feel like I'm a coach already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been more of a trainer to individual players than an actual, whole team coach. And I know to really coach a team at the level I want to coach a team, I'm going to have to understand at least one or two offenses. So if I want to coach a high school or 8th grade team, I was listening to Shaq when he talked about coaching his son's team. He's like, yo, they ran horns the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And just variations off of horns. And so he might have taught him 5-6 plays. And then they just ran the counters and the variations to those 5 or 6 plays. And that's a great way to get players to start understanding that the game is much more than just dribbling and running around. The real X and O's of playing the game at a higher level, if that's something they really want to pursue, or they want to be able to teach the game or work in the game at a higher level, being an analyst, video editor, coordinator, trainer, etc. Those are good things to teach them. And if they're just somebody who just enjoys the game and they want to see it from a much more in-depth perspective, like the coach's views, it's definitely something to know. So, with all that being said, yeah, I don't see no way people beat the 76ers. I could be 1,000% wrong, man. I don't see it. I don't care who they add. I don't care who the Nets add. I don't care who the Bucks add. I don't care who the Knicks add. I don't care who anybody adds. I don't care who the Wizards have. I don't see nobody beating the 76ers. I think the 76ers are just going to quietly just chip away all finals. And everybody going to be looking at all the quote-unquote bigger names. And they're going to forget that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid played together in Philadelphia with Doc Rivers as their goddamn head coach. Let me say that again real slow. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid play together for one team. So you have a 7-foot damn near point guard and a 7'3" nimble motherfreaking big man who can dribble, pass, and shoot, plus play bully ball on the box. Playing together under one of the greatest head coaches of all time, a winning head coach, a brother at that, who played the game at the highest level, won on that level, and understands not only playing the game at a high level, developing high level talent, because he made his son a McDonald's All-American. I don't give a damn how you feel about Austin Rivers. He plays in the NBA motherfucking A and he gets checks. Oh, his dad got him a check. His dad cut him a check. Nigga, he still had to be nice enough for his dad. Michael Jordan has sons. Why they not in the NBA? What that argument doesn't make sense. So many people's sons don't make the league. He was able to get his sons to the right trainers and train his son to be nice enough himself, where his son got to the league. Doc Rivers is an impeccable coach. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. The fact that while coaching at such a high level, he was also able to cultivate his son's talent to that degree. Hey, shows so many so many amazing things about this man's level of aptitude for the game, his level of talent, and, the physical gifts that he passed on. The combination of those three things, Austin Rivers, who is a killer in his own right. Don't give a damn what people say. If he was showcasing it in the offense, Austin Rivers would be a superstar in this league, and it's not even a debate. It's really not. He can dribble, pass, and shoot at an extremely high level. He has a great layup package, left hand, right hand. Yeah, he's a little shaky on defense, but so is half the goddamn league. What is your point? He's a little undersized for his position, but so what? Put him in the right system, in the right offense, and just let the offense run through him and guarantee him 25 shots a night and watch what Austin Rivers would do. He would have a bunch of 30 and 40-point games. The kid can really, really shoot the ball, and he really has a good layup package, and he really can drive to the Baja, a.k.a. the basket or the hoop, left-handed or right-handed. He has no fear in his game. He will shoot the basketball from half court if you let him on a regular basis. He does not give a damn. Can pass, can dish out of 2-man or 3-man trying to trap him off. Left hand, right hand passes are equally proficient. Left hand, right hand dribbles equally proficient. Takes contact, explodes to the basket. Not the most athletic, but his layup package makes up for a lot of it. He's got a lot of floaters and runners in the lane, a lot of step backs. Mid-range game is decent. Like, I don't understand what we talking about. This kid is the full package. He's an amazing player. If he was featured, something that Kwame Brown spoke about in his recent podcast episodes that he's been doing recently, and we're going to get into this Kwame Brown shit. Don't get me wrong, we're going to get into this Kwame Brown shit today. Oh, y'all here for it, and I'm glad. This is his ghetto point of view. You know what I mean? Pull up a chair. But anyway, so Austin Rivers he literally would kill like everywhere he's been. When he was in Phoenix, I believe he was in Phoenix for a while, he killed. When he was on the Clippers, he killed. When he was on the 76ers, he killed. When he was on the Knicks, he killed. He's went to work for a lot of teams. The dude is having a long career in a league where people get dropped in and out of the league a lot. He's having a long career. I don't want to hear, he's just got to check because his dad gave him some money. His dad gave him some money. His play had to justify him being on the court. Stop it. There's a lot of fathers who have children who want to play in the league, who don't have the physical tools or the proficiency of the game to continue to stay in the league. So let's stop it. Let's stop like that. That narrative is so silly. And I feel like I honestly think Austin should have stayed playing with his pops, because I feel like that would have been a dope tandem and a dope story. And I feel like eventually his pops is going to win a ring. It would have been dope, even if Austin had to come off the bench for whatever team his pops was running to win the ring, for him to do that and have that story. But no, so much hate, so much vitriol, so much the media is on some bullshit. His dad is going to give him this huge contract. Motherfucker. Like, you hear other grown ass men, his dad gave him the money so he could buy those skinny jeans. Like, nigga, like some of the people was complaining about him having skinny jeans full of money. He couldn't even fit in skinny jeans. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make no sense. Former NBA players looking like refrigerators and sofas. But I'm gonna leave this shit alone, man, because I ain't in the best shape either. But goddamn it, I look better than them. Oh man, crazy. But I'm sorry, that was completely unnecessary, guys. I apologize. But yeah, man, I think Austin Rivers is like so many other players, man. If they got featured and they were a more featured part of an offense, if they really had the offensive package to do it, the numbers are so skewed in the NBA. It's all the numbers are really about politics, man, and who they feel has the flashy enough personality to go along with the numbers and sell stuff that they want. You know what I'm saying? A dude like Russell Westbrook is amazing. And his whole narrative of being this Lone Ranger kind of guy who just goes off is the narrative they want to sell for him, because they could all easily put him on a team where he could be more successful, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? The narratives are really what this is about. It's about telling stories. So anyway, yeah, man, but moving forward, it's been a very interesting start to the playoffs so far. Teams is starting to go to work. Teams are starting to really go to work. Uh, Shout out to the Mavericks. They beat the Clippers, and the three observations from a Mavericks 127-121 statement win in Game 2 against the Clippers. The Mavericks showed they weren't happy with a split in LA. This is a shout to SB Nation for the article. The Dallas Mavericks defeated the LA Clippers 127-121 on Tuesday night, taking a commanding 2-0 series lead in this first round matchup of the NBA playoffs. The Mavericks came out aggressive for the second straight game and then paid off in the end. Starting slow has been a problem for Dallas all year, but so far has been a habit left in the regular season. Luka Doncic led the Mavericks with 39 points, adding 7 rebounds and 7 assists. I've been telling, you know what, I'm going to be quiet. Don't be surprised if the Dallas Mavericks will make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. If the Dallas Mavericks beat the Clippers, they're going to the Western Conference Finals, and it's going to be Dallas versus LA. You heard it here right now. Who can't Dallas beat? Dallas can beat literally every single team. They have one of the best stars in the game. They have one of these kids who came straight out of the ranks ready to play in the pros because he's been playing in the pros his entire career. Luka Doncic has been playing in the pros since he was 13 and 14 years old. And don't say that doesn't count, because it absolutely does. Because that means since 12 or 13 years old, this young man has been playing at a professional level and prepared to do what he does now. That's 10 years of playing at a high level. And yes, he had prodigious talents. He had things that made it more appealing and attractive for them to push him in this arena, without question. But let's not act like it's the nurturing doesn't also impact nature, and we don't have a bunch of people out here whose nature says they should be doing something, but whose nurturing didn't allow them the opportunity. Luka Doncic had the nature and the nurture. The nurture. But anyway, Tim Hardaway poured in 28. Kristaps Porzingis poured 20 and two blocks. Kawhi led all scorers with 41, and Paul George chipped in 28. Oof. The teams head to Dallas on Friday, where a near-capacity crowd awaits at the American Airlines Center. As for this game, here are 3 observations from a Mavericks win that gives them control over the series. Dallas played Leonard and George one-on-one all game. The Clippers' 2 superstars ended up with eye-popping numbers, but it looked like it was by design. The Mavericks never sent a double team at Leonard or George, instead playing them straight up all game. Dallas focused on limiting the Clippers' role players and let Leonard and George score on tough shots over and over again. Between orchestrating the offense and defending Doncic, Leonard ran out of gas late in the game, and Rick Carlisle's gamble paid off. Reggie Jackson was the only other Clipper who scored in double digits, posting 15 points. I really feel letting Montrezl Harrell and all these other players walk away is going to hurt the Clippers so much. I do not understand. You let Montrezl Harrell walk away? You ain't let him walk far. That nigga walked across the hallway. And said he got smoke for anybody who want to fight about it. You know Montrezl ain't stepping away from no fight. Montrez. You know Montrez ain't stepping away from no fight. Like, just saying. Like, I think the Clippers lost so many key, small, intricate pieces that really made them special and really made them go and do what they do. Reggie Jackson is an amazing piece, man. Absolutely, but it's not enough. I think that the Clippers are really going to regret losing a lot of those key small role players that gave them the depth that they needed to spell Kawhi and Paul George and really give them a complementary in front court and back court attack in front court and backcourt depth. I mean, they were really special for a few seasons, and had they just been able to just keep the egos in check and keep it all together and just humble themselves and sacrifice. What might we have seen, guys? What might we have seen? Just saying, just saying. So the article continues, 3-point shooting has been the difference in both games. In game 1, the Mavericks shot 47% from deep, palms away, while the Clippers only shot 27%. Los Angeles improved in game 2, shooting 39% on three-pointers, but Dallas stepped up their shooting as well, converting 52% of their shots. Whew! They've outscored the Clippers by 33 on three-pointers in 2 games, decided by a total of 16 points. God damn. Both teams are built around shooting a lot of three-pointers. Whichever one hits their deep shots will probably win. It sounds too simple, but it's honestly what separates them right now. Hopefully the Mavericks continue their hot shooting for the next 10 days. Crazy. Whew. Shout out to SB Nation for the dope article, man. But yeah, I mean, it's the playoffs, man. What are you gonna do? What the heck are you gonna do? What the heck? Who do you guys got coming out the West? Who you guys got coming out the West? Most likely to me, the Lakers still come out the West. Do I think that Dallas has enough to beat Denver? Denver might be the only team. Well, Denver's kind of banged up. I don't know if they can do it without all their pieces. I'm not sure. Because I feel like Dallas's defense is good enough, and Dallas has enough bigs to throw at Jokic that, that might get him muckered down. So if Jamal Murray and all their guards are not able to be available, at 100% strength and ready to dominate, it can tie down the court. And if Michael Porter Jr., if it comes down to Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic having to do all the heavy lifting, and they just put all the they just completely smother those guys on defense and play them similar to how they're playing the Clippers. Just let those two guys get off, and because Murray or, whoever's going to play that dominant role for them as the third option is not available. And then, actually that would allow, Murray to be the second option and Porter to be the third, or vice versa, however they want to interchange that. It would just get interesting, man. It would be a much more interesting series if Denver was all the way ready. But speaking of Denver, 5 takeaways from Denver's Game 2 victory. The Nuggets' resilience was on display again tonight with their 128-109 win over the Trailblazers. The playoff energy, that was playoff energy if I've ever felt it. It was a very physical, chippy game from these two contenders, resulting in a 129-109 Denver victory. There were multiple scuffles in the middle of the floor, producing 2 flagrants and 4 combined technicals from both teams. The fans at Ball Arena ignited Denver's energy, facilitating a sizable lead over Portland throughout the game. Here are my 5 takeaways, and this article was by Tommy Knowlton. Shout out to Tommy Knowlton. Nikola Jokic is an unstoppable force. That is a whole fact. Jokic answered Dame's 42 with 38 of his own, shooting an incredible 15 of 20 from the field. That is super high level efficiency. That is elite stuff. The Joker be going to work. In the winning effort, Portland's game plan is to let Denver score in the paint in hopes they will answer with threes. That is a dumb ass fucking game plan. Listen, man, I'm sorry. No, you don't live by the 3, you die. But now, listen, I understand we got some of the most elite shooters in the world playing in the game right now, so they don't feel that way as much. But I still don't agree with that, man, because I feel like the playoffs is still the playoffs. The playoffs is still a different season. The playoffs still get mucked down and murked just a little bit more. Not as much as it used to. It's becoming a more free-flowing game, and freedom of movement and all that stuff have definitely taken an effect on how the playoffs are even played. But, until, I'm gonna just say it. Like, the playoffs have always had a tradition of being a little more half-courty, a little more murky, a little more mucked down. And I think they're going to keep that, at least for the immediate future, and allow these two varied styles to dominate between the playoffs. being more physical and a little slower, and in the regular season being these super high scoring games. I think that uh, variance in how the games are played in each part of the season is very entertaining for the fans to watch. And then when you have the play-in tournament to it as well, I think this is a good formula that the NBA is starting to transition to. Um, so yeah, uh, let's see. This article continues. The Nuggets nearly doubled the Blazers in the paint, outscoring them 54-32. Like, you don't win by this. You die by this. This is not they're going to beat you the hell up. I don't care how fast pace you're playing. When they catch you, they're going to hit you. They're going to knock you. They're going to legs, knees, elbows to ribs, and man, like gut punch, like everything, a lot of stuff, jersey pulling, grabbing the shorts, tripping people up. All that's going to go on in the playoffs. This is not a winning strategy. It's just not. Like, Melo gonna have to play bully ball and get in that box, and I know he's older now, so that's hard on the body. But if they don't have a equally potent inside offensive threat to Jokic, this is just gonna be a quick series. They gonna get the hell up out of here. You cannot respond to a player like Nikola Jokic by just trying to fire up a bunch of threes. What he's doing is entirely too efficient. So yes, every time you hit a three, yes, he only hit a two, boom. But every time you miss a three, he can just easily hit another two. And the likelihood of him hitting a 2-pointer is much higher than the likelihood of you hitting a 3-pointer. I don't care how good you shoot threes. Steph Curry's 3-point percentage is not as good as Nikola Jokic's 2-point percentage. It's just not, because it's a closer shot and he's tall and if the rim is right there. Duh, and duh. Like, these are real things. It's like it can be sometimes as much as a 20 or 30 point difference between a good big man's percentages in the box. They could be shooting 65, 75, almost 80% close to the rim, while you're shooting maybe 35, 40, 43% from three, and that's considered really good. So for every one of those shots you make, you're likely to miss 2 shots for every shot you make. If you're shooting in the 30s, you're likely to miss 1.5 shots for every shot you make if you're shooting in the 40s, right? Even if you're shooting in the 50s, that means every shot you make, you miss one. Whereas if you're shooting 80%, it means you will, out of 10 shots, you will miss 2. So that means you get 16 points, while if out of 10 shots I'm shooting 45%, I'm going to hit 4.5. So let's say I hit 50. That's only 15 points versus you having 16 points. It took you a couple more shots to get there, but you are winning the game. And you've made more shots than I have. We both took the same amount of shots. We both had the same amount of possessions with the ball. You're just more efficient. It's not a winning strategy. It's just not. I'm sorry. Even if Dame is doing the heavy lifting, Melo is going to have to be a 16 and 10 guy in that paint. He just is. Nurkic is going to have to be a 10 and 8 guy in that paint. And so together that'll be 26 and 15, something to that effect. If they can't do that, then this is over. This is over fast. The superstar matchup between Lillard and Jokic is incredibly compelling. It's almost as though we're watching the reincarnation of old 80s, 90s basketball with Jokic against the modern offensive explosion of Damian Lillard. Jokic has the uncanny ability to get wherever he wants on the floor without much athleticism. When he gets deep in the paint, he has the best post moves in the game. This is all facts. In the first 2 games, he combined for 72 points. If that isn't engraving his MVP case, I don't know what will. Well, this is the playoffs, so there's no MVP conversation in the playoffs, so shut up. Denver needs to slow down Lillard's look off high screening rolls. That is very true. He is dangerous off the high pick and roll. High pick and rolls, as those that don't know, are like pick and rolls that are set by your teammate, much higher out, like, past 3-point line and stuff. So you can, just get open for a three-pointer very easily, or you could fake three-pointer, head fake left and right, drive to the basket. You're probably closing some defense on you, and then you could feed a big man or kick out to a corner to one of your wings, or one of your big men who's in a corner to shoot a three, or on the wings to shoot, or just drive and slash to the basket. You're getting more read and react as you are closing the defense on you when you can really stretch the offense like that. For those that might understand the lingo, you know what I'm saying? But article continues. Portland isolates Jokic and Porter in this action. And sometimes never. Nuggets defenders are hedging the screen with flat feet and no angles, meaning that they are like trying to cheat the screen and lean to a side to try to maximize how many steps it takes them to recover to their defender if they are being screened off, meaning somebody's trying to block them from playing defense on their man. If they set the screen, defenders cannot give Dame any room, not even an inch. You have to get the ball out of his hands. And if Covington, Melo, and Simmons hit shots, then so be it, because they have not shown to be consistent yet. Melo is going to have to get into that box. They already got Rocco and Simmons, Robert Covington and Simmons to shoot threes. Melo, you going to have to play in the bully ball. Denver's rotations were much better in game 2, which helped solidify disappointing efforts from Melo and Simons. If Denver can figure out a way to slow down their screen game, Lillard will have to work much harder to create the shots he wants to take. Mid-range Monty is back. Monty's 12 points in a game high plus 19 was certainly a welcome sight. He only played a handful of games since coming back from injury, and last night seemed to be his most comfortable. He is such a crucial part to this team, and they're desperate for some consistent scoring off the bench. So it's a very dope article. Article concludes, bench play will decide this series. Jokic and Lillard can drop 50 every game. This series, if that's what their team needs, they will show up every night. But it's both teams' benches that need to emerge to earn victories. In game 1, Portland's bench performed well in a win, and Denver's bench responded tonight with great work from Morris and Millsap. Millsap was the silent MVP of this game when the bench was struggling and hesitant. Good old Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap been killing for a long time. Got it in the post and delivered. He will not give Denver better athleticism or the ability to defend Portland's guards better. What he gives you is experience, toughness, and intellectual play. Loved his game tonight. He's definitely a problem. The series is tied at 1-1. Series is tied at 1 game apiece, y'all. Then, of course, we know the Nets blew out the Celtics 130-108. This series is not really, whatever. That's not really. How the Memphis Grizzlies shocked. Really? They're shocking the world because they're beating the Utah Jazz. I don't know if that's really shocking the world. The Utah Jazz are amazing, but I don't know if that's shocking. Ja Morant is a great player. I don't know if there's much of a difference in play between Spider Mitchell and Ja Morant. I think they are pretty comparable players. They both jump out the gym. They both can shoot from deep. They both can run their team's offense. So yeah, I think they pretty much cancel each other out. So I don't think it'd be shocking for Memphis to be able to put together a few games in this series where they can, wrestle up some points. But I don't know if they come out of the series. I don't think they do that. I think that's asking for a bit much. I think that's a bit of a stretch. And yeah, man, that's just his ghetto point of view, bringing you the news, views, previews, and reviews with just a twist of his ghetto point of view. Ooh. Take a quick break. We'll be back. Yeah, we back, gang. We back. So in a big FU to the indie music scene, it's just been confirmed the Small Business Association uh, gave $0 to the indie music venues in all of America, like all across the country, all the grunge rock spots, all the underground hip hop spots. None of them got a fucking dime. They were told to die during the pandemic, essentially. They were just told to die. And new reports suggest that no money from the Save Our Stages Act has been distributed to indie music venues. This article is courtesy of Digital Music News. Shout out to them. The report from Variety relies on information from the Small Business Administration. The Save Our Stages Act guaranteed independent venues and theaters $16 billion in federal pandemic relief. Billion with a B. But none of that aid has reached indie music venues. These venues have been struggling to remain operational for 15 months and counting. Meanwhile, countless other businesses have received billions in relief grants. An SBA rep has confirmed that to Variety that payments for indie music venues have not been made yet. The SBA hoped to begin distribution last week, but ran into several technical issues. That's true. The SBA is committed to quickly and efficiently delivering this pandemic relief to help our theaters. Quickly and efficiently? Can 15 months really be quickly or efficiently? I don't know. An SBA rep told Variety when asked about the lack of funding, while there continues to be some fine-tuning of the technical components of the program, expect SVOG Priority 1 90% revenue loss awards to tentatively begin next week, kicking off a 14-day priority period when we will then move on to begin processing Priority 2 awards, the rep continues. SVOG stands for Shuttered Venue Operations Grants, which cover needs based on revenue lost. The SBA has been unable to explain why distributing these funds to indie music venues and theaters have taken so long. First, the SBA's website took several months to be set up to receive applications. When it opened, the site immediately crashed from the influx of users. It remained offline for 2.5 weeks, and there has been zero progress since it began accepting applications on April 26th. One venue operator told Variety that the process has been frustrating, to say the least. The SBA opened SVOG applications 1 month ago. They haven't processed one application yet. And this morning, the SBA sent out emails to SVOG, which again stands for the Shuttered Venue Operations Grants, pretty much, the grants for the venues that have been massively affected or even mildly affected, because they have a tier system based on how much loss you had. So, tier 1 will get first, tier 2 second, etc., and it'll go from there. And this morning, the SBA sent out emails to SVOG applicants, including me, saying our records indicate that you have started an application that has not been completed or submitted. My application has shown submitted on the SBA's web portal since April 26. After 8 months of intense lobbying to pass the Save Our Stages Act, the distribution has been a failure. SBA has obviously been overwhelmed by the sheer amount of requests. It received 17,000 applications for SVOG assistance within the first 24 hours of opening, but the delay in relief funding is causing problems for indie music venues who have few resources to rely on for rehiring staff and promoters. And all right, I understand you got 17,000 applications, but that's 1.5 years ago. This is the government. Y'all have the technology to automatically and electronically read through 17,000 applications in moments. The computers, the processing power, the applications, y'all have the mainframe capability. So y'all have colos or co-locations with tons of terabytes of hard drive space just sitting there, remote security locations. So I'm sure y'all could have allocated some hard drive space to, a computer so it could have ran through this, processed it, and organized it and put it to the side until you guys were ready to approve it. Or you could have just had a computer based on some algorithms written by your amazing team of coders. Just do that, which all would have been very easy. So I'm a little interested in how this is taking so long. And I think it's just, a F you to the venues who, quite frankly, they didn't like in the first place. And a lot of times they feel the indie scene venues get in the way of the bigger venues who pay bigger taxes, who give more to campaigns, who are more affiliated and acquainted with the political people in the community, who can lobby much greater, who are probably a part of a PAC or super PAC. And, they don't play those games. They want all that money to go to the big venues. They could give a damn about the indie venues. That's just being honest. Just being honest, guys. Just being honest. Y'all can disagree all you want. So, in other news, songwriters demand greater transparency from the Copyright Royalty Board over mechanical royalties. Those royalties which are generated from an actual spin of something. Mechanical royalties. Songwriters are officially calling for greater mechanical rate transparency from the Copyright Royalty Board. Tennessee and Toronto-based music creators, North America, MCNA, an alliance of independent songwriters and composer organizations, just recently issued a mechanical royalty rate related demand to the Copyright Board, or also known as the CRB, in the form of more than 1,000-word long open letter. The lengthy message is addressed to the CRB's current 3 judges and signed by the Songwriters Guild of America's president, Rick Carnes. Oh, okay, so this is they're not playing. As well as MCNA officer and co-chair Ashley Irwin. Worth noting here is that Spotify, Amazon, Google, and other streaming players scored a victory against the CRB in the mechanical royalty space in September of 2020, the same month that the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, who is in charge of appointing CRB judges, named Shira Perlmutter, Register of Copyrights. So pretty much the person who takes all the copyrights and, is in charge of the whole team of people who actually put them, log them in at the Library of Congress, which is something, a lot of artists don't recognize as important. But it's super important, guys, to register your music with the Library of Congress. You don't want to miss out on that because you're guaranteed at least $25,000 if you sue somebody for your song and it is copywritten. Whereas if you didn't do that, you're not guaranteed any money. But there's a law that you're guaranteed a minimum of at least $25,000. Look it up. It's no bullshit. If the song is actually copywritten and you are the first person to place a copyright on said song, whether it's a sound recording copyright, a copyright of the underlying composition, whichever you do, or if you do both because you wrote the song and then you recorded a rendition of the song, which would be the sound recording, and plus you composed the underlying composition, or you composed the dance for a song. There are different things. Like, that's how Soulja Boy got a ton of money, because he copywrote his dance. And that's how a lot of these artists be getting jerked, because they don't know that you can also copyright the dance of your song, because like that choreography is a part of the music. And if you don't copyright your choreography as well, people are going to get you bad. If you make a song and you copyright the sound recording of the song, plus if you make a beat and you copyright the beat of the song, the underlying composition, all the notes, the scales, you copyright those 2 things separately. Dope. There's also a thing where you can copyright the choreography and shit. And a lot of motherfucking rappers did not notice, and they made these dope dances that got freaking copied by very popular video games. And those video games didn't pay these artists a dime. And then when it finally came out that they did this to these artists, they tried to pay these artists pennies. You know what I'm saying? But Black Lives Matter. Anyway, but Black Lives Matter. My ass. Anyway. Don't get me talking, gang. Also in September of last year, the Songwriters Guild of America and the MCNA, the article continues, took aim at backroom agreements between streaming services and major publishers. This is a digital music news article. Keeping these points in mind, the organizations emphasize at the start of their newest open letter that they have deep concerns about the notice of settlement in principle filed before the CRB by the major labels in the National Music Publishers Association, or NMPA, earlier this year. Several highly conflicted parties to this proceeding have apparently agreed to propose a rolling forward to the year 2027 of the current U.S. statutory mechanical royalty rate for the use of musical compositions and the manufacture and sale of physical phono records. The text indicates, hold the motherfuck up. So, for those that don't know, like listen to this clearly, like especially the artists and the managers of those who aspire to be writers, artists, managers. Listen to the parents of people who are doing this. You know what I'm saying? If your kid is trying to be a rapper, trying to be a singer, trying to be a songwriter, music producer, composer for videos and TV, listen to this. They are several highly conflicted parties to this proceeding have apparently agreed to propose a rolling forward to the year 2027 of the current U.S. statutory mechanical royalty rate. No. Manufacture and sale of physical phono records? Bro, we don't make phono records no more. Everything is digital. And the small label, you know, the amount of physical runs of vinyls and stuff that you get, that's small and niche, and you could rewrite the current agreements to address those small niche times and those niche projects and those smaller special projects you do for people that would be more reflective of the fact that it is cheaper to do it these days, and the cost of doing vinyls, etc., is way lower. The cost of CDs, the tape cassettes, etc., is way lower for a higher quality production. This is insane that they would try to roll this over to 2027 and continue to give people the same rates that they get now. This is absolutely unacceptable. Well, the article continues, but the proposal should neither be acted upon nor accepted by the CRB without the opportunity for public comment. The document proceeds, especially by the members of the broad community of music creators for whom it is financially unfeasible to participate in these proceedings as interested parties. So pretty much taxation without representation. Taxation without representation, taxation without representation, taxation without representation. If you are an artist, you know what I'm saying, if you running a business and you out there selling stuff, if you selling merch and you start selling a particular amount of merch and you not reporting it on your taxes, they'll try to get you for that. But these people can make laws and decide how you should be paid for years and years and decades at a time, and not only affect the money you make now, but affect the generational wealth you could possibly create and leave to your children. And these mofos get to sit in rooms and make these decisions without ever talking to you, but then want to turn around and tell you when you make decisions in a room without talking to them how you're wrong. It's hypocrisy on the highest level. It's hypocrisy on the highest level. It's hypocrisy on the highest freaking levels, man. The stateside statutory mechanical rate for physical has remained at 9.1 cents per 9.1 cents per composition, and the copy since January 1st, 2006, with a 2-cent mechanical rate. And one of the most damaging and egregious acts in music industry history, quote unquote, having remained in place between 1909 and 1978, the message notes. This is crazy. So the rate was 2 cents between 1909 and 1978, and now the rate is 9.1 cents per composition. And so for those who are not 1,000% clear of what a mechanical royalty is, I'll give you guys the exact technical definition, right? Because these days you're not really selling physicals as much, so it's equivalent to streams, and each stream is equivalent to a piece of a physical CD. You know what I'm saying? A fee, like think about it. Like even how we have cryptos, and cryptos you can purchase a fraction of a crypto. A stream is literally considered like a fraction of a physical sale of a CD, and like you need a particular amount of streams to equate to the sale of one CD or one album. Even if you sell an album of streams, it doesn't equate. You sell 10 streams at a time as an album, it doesn't equate to the same in the algorithms of like the Spotify world and stuff. Or not even if you sell it, if like people stream your album 10 times, I should say, because if somebody buys your album 10, all 10 songs, they fucking bought the album. Absolutely. That can equate. Sometimes that still doesn't even equate. And some of these dirty deals they be doing, like sometimes even you selling somebody on like Apple Music or Bandcamp for a smaller artist. If anybody was listening when J Swish came through and dropped all that dope game about using Bandcamp as opposed to some of the bigger aggregators like DistroKid or CD Baby. Even on CD Baby, you can also sell physicals as well, and they'll give you the ISRC codes, which pretty much like your your UPC codes and stuff, like your code to that people can scan on the back for each sale, even though people may not physically scan it at the register of like a Target or a Best Buy when they buy your album these days. That code still gets a ding when that particular copy of your album sells. Even digital copies of your album get these data codes encoded in them, so these sales can be counted. But yeah. So doityourselfmusician.cdbaby.com. What is a mechanical royalty? Publishing Unlocked. Article by Chris Robley. How does a songwriter earn money? Insert your own punchline here, but the real answer is in music publishing. There are a number of different kinds of publishing royalties you can earn from the usage of your original music. One of the big sources of publishing revenue you'll earn as a songwriter is performance royalties, but even a bigger revenue stream, at least for the music publishing industry at large, is mechanical royalties, which we'll talk about in this article. What's a mechanical royalty, you ask? Dum dum dum. Mechanical royalties are generated by the reproduction of your music whenever CDs are manufactured, downloads are purchased, or your songs are streamed. All right, we just talked about that. Now for the longer explanation. As a songwriter or publisher, you are owed a royalty every time your composition is reproduced on vinyl, tape, CD, MP3, etc. In the United States, this royalty is generally equal to 9.1 cents per reproduced quote-unquote copy of that song, regardless of whether those albums or singles are sold. The mechanical royalty rate for an on-demand stream through services like Spotify and RDIO is far lower, far lower, like fractions of a penny, like 0.0000000. Like, it's insane how many millions of streams you have to get just to get the same money that you could get just selling your music on a separate site. And not only do you get more money, you get access to the money faster. So, like, it's better to cultivate those relationships with audiences and move them to places like CD Baby or a place like, TuneCore will also allow you to some degree to do some of the physical things. But just using their aggregator part where they just put you on to the different streaming services, you may not be getting all of the benefits of having those services on your side. So, it's definitely something to look into. The Bandcamps, I don't know how many people still use Reverb Nation, but the Bandcamps of the world, there are even aggregators that, pay out in Bitcoin or have their own currency systems for these sites. Something definitely to look into as well. So if the article continues, if someone covers one of your songs and they manufacture 1,000 CDs, they owe you $91, 9.1 cents, regardless of whether those CDs ever get purchased by customers. If they sell 100 MP3s of your song, they owe you $9.10, right? 9.1 cents, 9.1 cents, 9.1 cents. You are also owed a mechanical royalty for the sale of your music on your own albums. But here's where things get a little virtual. If you're acting as your own label and putting out music that you've written, you'll effectively paying that royalty rate to yourself from album proceeds. At least that's how it works in the US, where download retailers like iTunes and Amazon pass on that mechanical royalty to you as a part of the net payment for the sale of the MP3. But in many countries outside the US, mechanical royalties are set aside by the retailer to be paid in collection societies who then distribute those royalties to publishers and writers. Tisk. But performing rights organizations like ASCAP and BMI do not collect mechanical royalties. Their job is to collect performance royalties, not mechanicals. So how do you collect international mechanicals? In order to collect international mechanical royalties as well as mechanical royalties for both global and domestic streams, listen, you need to register your music with many royalty collection services around the world. As our friends Justin Kilafowitz of Songtrust is fond of saying, you can do it yourself if you really want to, but you'll probably have to stop making music for a while. Affiliating yourself and registering your songs directly with all the international collection societies would not only take hundreds of hours of paperwork and filling out online forms, but you need to be proficient in dozens of languages or hire a translator. And who wants to do that when you've got gigs to play? That's where CD Baby Pro comes in. We do all that work for you. See, of course they had to throw it. I mean, listen, they give out a lot of really good information, so I'm not mad at that. At the end of that, they wanted to plug that. But yeah, guys, as they said, the sale of a physical copy of your music, whether it be a single or several songs, each song that's sold physically or digitally, you as the artist are get 9.1 cents. But if you act as the artist and label, the sites that collect your sale money pay you that collectively with your other rates, like your publishing, etc. So, and then sites, places like ASCAP, BMI are collecting your performance royalties. So like if your song is performed on the radio, if someone does a live rendition of it on television, if it's played in the background of a quote unquote jukebox in the movie, those performance royalties go to you as well. So, just things to think about. Or if you perform your song in a park and a huge show, not only should you get the money directly paid to you there, but, that should tick that place licensed. Hopefully that place has also licensed the song formally, and, you get money for your stuff playing in at a live venue as well, or you performing at a live venue as well, I should say. Or someone else performing your stuff at a live venue. You should get performance royalties for that. Cool, right? Hope that wasn't too complex. So this article goes on back in the Digital Music News article. Nevertheless, the recording industry now seeks to repeat the history by freezing the 9.1 cents rate for an era that will have exceeded 20 years by the end of Phonorecords statutory rate setting period. Phonorecords 4 statutory rate setting period. How can the U.S. Music Publishing and Industry Trade Association, the NMPA, and a single music creator organization, the Nashville Songwriters Association International, have agreed to such a proposal? Three major record companies who negotiated the deal on one side of the table have the same corporate parents as the, I mean, come on, of course, at the end of the day, this stuff is all generally decided by very few people, as the most powerful members of the music publishing community ostensibly sitting on the other side of the table. It's a very good article, man. Definitely check it out. Shout out to Digital Music News for the great work. But yeah, man, I mean, it can get really ugly in these music industry conversations. It can get really rough. It can get disgusting. It can get really, really trife, really, really fast. But, that's what we're here for, man, to learn and be educated about these things. Please continue to donate to his Ghetto Point of View. Every single penny, nickel, dime you give really, really helps us to continue to bring you these stories and continue to provide you this information, stuff you might not have heard on mainstream media, stuff that is very important to the lives of people that you know or your life personally. If you're a person in the entertainment industry or aspiring to be, being kept abreast of these type of stories and this news can really help you stay one step ahead of the game. So please continue to donate at paypal.me/PhantmFuego, PhantmPhuego, or at Venmo at Phantm, PhantM dash, that line in the middle, Fuego, Phuego dash 42, the number 4, the number 2. So that's Phantm dash Fuego dash 42 on Venmo, and on PayPal it is paypal.me/PhantmFuego. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back. Cheers. Yeah, what's going on, gang? We back. So, for those who've been paying attention recently at all, even just a little bit, you've heard about this gentleman, KevSamuels. Yes, KevSamuels. Whether he's a formally trained, officially trained, a self-proclaimed relationship guru, that's still to be determined. There's a lot of confirmation about the fact that the man may have had, a lot of years experience with these singles ministries. There's a lot of, information about the man, and, coming from the corporate world, doing sales, then doing image consulting in his own private business, and putting his flair for those things all together, right? So, okay. How do I personally feel about KevSamuels? His ghetto point of view. This is just strictly his ghetto point of view. The views of Phantm Fuego do not necessarily reflect the views of Spotify, Anchor, or any of these streaming platforms. Let me just throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? Before this gets a little spicy. KevSamuels, right? So let me just give you his ghetto point of view, right? Do I understand how some people can say they don't like his tone, or they feel his approach is a bit harsh or condescending. They feel he's going over the top in some regards. Oh, absolutely. I can definitely see that. I can definitely see him being a bit harsh. Brass. Even some people may say rude about things. Very direct, no tact, down the middle, right? Just steamrolling through the situation. I get it. I guess some people can see his antics to be a little bit silly or childish in some regards. I mean, you could clearly. The gentleman does have an engineering degree. I'm sure he is a nerd at heart and a bit of a Star Wars junkie, a nerd techie guy, a bit at heart. So you can definitely see some of those things peak up in some regards with all the sound effects and things like that. Come on. So of course, absolutely. I can see the silly some people can see the silly antics and say, oh my God, that's just too much. I'm good. I don't want to hear anything he has to say. I don't care. I could care less if he's curing cancer or has all the keys to heal the black community. I just don't want to hear it because I don't like how he says it. I can definitely understand that argument. I think that argument has some validity, but in other respects, I don't think the argument has any validity at all. And here's why. KevSamuels is not the first person who's tried to make these kind of statements. Very often on his show, excuse me, guys, I had to take a little sip of water. Very often on his show, he regularly mentions Queen Shahrazad Ali. He regularly mentions where he references a ton of his material. For those that don't know, Queen Shahrazad Ali was also a relationship guru of sorts in the 80s and 90s, school trained scientist, wrote several books, from her perspective, as not only as somebody who practices, who was at one time a practicing member of the Nation of Islam under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the classical version of the Nation of Islam. I don't think she has as much affiliation with the nation today, in Farrakhan, but she was attached to the classical, to the nation, as it was classically constituted, and yeah, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have people like KevSamuels. So, and he constantly bigs her up and he gives her flowers in that regard, and he says, I didn't come create this information myself, and he's constantly giving her as one of his biggest references. She's wrote a series of books which I highly recommend. I'm actually reviewing them myself right now because I think they're just good eating. They're just good eating. As Kwame Brown, we talk about that mama's cooking. Well, that's one mama who's cooking we all could use a bit more of. So much love to Queen Shahrazad Ali. And so KevSamuels is not making these things up of his own, thoughts. These are things that, people have been in the news, done the Sally Jesse Raphaels, the Donnie Hughes, and the Geraldo Riveras, went on national book tours trying to get similar messages out and saying it just as brass, especially Queen Shahrazad Ali. She didn't pull any punches with how she talked to black men or black women back in the 80s and 90s and doesn't now. She's been literally all over television for decades and hasn't pulled a punch yet. And so I think it's a bit disingenuous how we act like, oh, I don't like his tone, I don't like what he's saying, like he's the first person to ever bring these ideas to our community. No. He's not the first person to bring these ideas to our community. And sadly, I do not know if he'll be the last. I don't know if we're ready for this change. I don't know if the change will happen to the degree that we think it will. I think he'll make a big impact. I think he'll get to a peak and a point where you start to see an impact and change in the community in some way. And you'll be able to see people bring him up and reference him when certain things happen and be like, look, this is exactly what KevSamuels be talking about right here. And I think because of the popularity of his message, people will have to acknowledge, right or wrong. Now, do I think that he would be as popular if he wasn't as brash, rude, and direct? Heck no. And that's where I was going with this. There's a gentleman called Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu. Jawanza, Jawanza, Kunjufu, Kunjunfu. And he came out with and I'm probably slaughtering the gentleman's spelling of the gentleman's name, so forgive me, but if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty. It's pretty close to what it is. Jawanza Kunjufu. If you look him up, you'll see that he had a whole campaign and a ministry to save black boys. And he would go around doing classes with parents and students inside the schools. He would have some classes with just the parents, some classes with just the students, and some classes with both. He would also go around to the different churches. And he would tell the kids how to not follow behind the bad kids and to be a better student and all this and that, and talk to them about peer pressure and having children and all these things, right? Then he would talk to the parents about making sure that they're not just loving their boys, but they're actually disciplining and trying to raise their boys. He would show the charts about how boys are actually born at a higher rate than girls, but by the time they get 18, the boys are either killed off or in jail or this or that, and they don't even make it to 18. The majority of the boys is born. And he was doing these presentations since the 80s. And then also in his presentations, he would tell women not to eat after 9 o'clock. Get in the gym, get fit and feminine and relax in your laurels. And these are all things Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu would do in his messages. But he said it nice. He said it soft. He said it sweet. He said it with a smile on his face. You think the women was listening to him? You think the women was listening to Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu? And he was overweight. So you got this overweight man telling women not to eat after 9 o'clock. Image matters. The person who's giving me a message is how they present the message to me is very much important. It's something in the Nation of Islam they talk about all the time. Opposite attracts, like repels. So if I come to you and I'm got my suit on, I'm looking nice and sharp, and that in and of itself attracts. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, if I'm disciplined in my appearance consistently, that attracts people who are inconsistent. If I'm constantly pushing myself to a higher standard, that attracts people who want to do those things but haven't been able to do them in their lives. All of those little things are super key. And then the fact that he has all the sound effects, the slaps, the dum dum dum, all of that helps. Y'all act like it don't, man. And when I say y'all, I don't mean my audience, because I know my audience better than that. But for the few people here, especially the queens, the ladies, the sisters that's listening, if y'all have a problem with KevSamuels, and you would literally be described as everything that he says men are looking for: fit, feminine, friendly, and cooperative, etc. Inspirational, affirming, inspirational. Like, if you genuinely check all those boxes and still have a problem with them, I'd love to hear from you. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. I just would love to know your particular grievance and why. And have you heard of Jawanza Kunjufu? Have you heard of Sister Shahrazad Ali? Have you seen that people have been trying to bring us this message since the 80s and we didn't listen? And now, almost 50 years later, between 40 and 50 years later, we going through this. Dr. Shahrazad wrote her book like 35 years ago. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu started his work 40 years ago. So, got people like Tavis Smiley, who had his whole program about trying to save the youth. But Tavis Smiley got caught up in his thing, so nobody want to hear nothing that man got to say. So, that's why it makes sense that KevSamuels is doing well, because he's literally the contrarian to all of these people who came and tried to say it's soft and nice and polite. And I hate to say it, but in a world where you have songs like WAP and songs like, you got people, you know what I mean, R.I.P. to Pop Smoke, but like them records them records is brass, and them records is very down the middle, and them records is, you know what I mean, them records is not to be argued with. The records is what they are. When you have that type of music, when you have the type of imagery we have in society, when you have the type of interactions people are having with one another, you need somebody who is about that. You know what I'm saying? You can't have somebody who, oh yeah, Let's come on, guys. Let's just come on, gang. We can do this together nicely. No. Oh, but that's wrong. You talking to people meanly and cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. I don't want to hear it. It's a joke. It's a joke, and it's used to skirt the situations. There's real bad problems going on in our community, and whoever can speak to those problems, let's help and support that. Let's not tear it down, man. Like I'm seeing a lot of brothers who I used to think was stand up dudes being really emotionally in their feelings and mad that this person is having success instead of being like, yo, I hear what he's saying and I respect it. Why does that person's success take away from you? Why do you feel you deserve to be the person who gives women this relationship advice? Lord Jamal? Like let's really talk about Lord Jamal for a second. Like Lord Jamal is supposed to be God, right? Supposed to be from the nation of gods and earths and all this and that. But Lord Jamal literally spent the last 5 years of our lives just hanging around with a white guy. Which is at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with having friends in all walks of life. Black, white, blue, yellow. But if everything you talking is this pro-black thing, there were no black platforms you could have gotten on and blew yourself up just as much. There were no black content creators working just as hard as DJ Vlad that you could have coordinated with and tag team with and propelled yourselves to the top. There was no black PR or public PR or marketing teams you could have got with, brand strategy teams you could have got with to take your own content platform to those heights in this time. I find it a little hard to believe. I think sometimes we get so comfortable just being the show and being the entertainment that we forget that we can also be the coordinators, the executive producers, the managers, we can also be the brand. We don't have to allow our energy and our talents and our resources and our capabilities and all our good years, as they would say, to go to developing the dreams and the desires and the empires of those from outside of our community. No, we can very much take that same time, energy, and effort to build up an empire. The man, I have personally have taken a break from DJ Vlad, but what I will say is one of the good things the dude did was the dude would literally kick the whole game of how he did his channel. You know what I'm saying? And just constantly creating the content. And he didn't care if pieces, he doesn't, you know what I mean? It's about scaling. And it's something that our children, unfortunately, are not taught in school, just scale and the business of scale and scalability and scaling out a business, and how he doesn't care if he only makes a penny a day from his videos. If he has 1 million videos out there all making him a penny a day, or he has 10,000 videos out there all making him a penny a day, 20,000 videos out there all making him a penny a day. You know what I'm saying? Like scalability, he doesn't care if one thing only makes 5 or 10 cents. If I have 20,000 of those things, if I have 15,000 of those things, 100,000 of those things, only making 5 or 10 cents or a penny, like, my business model is not based on one thing making me a ton of money. My business model is based on having a ton of things all moving and generating small bits of money at the same time, over and over and over again in perpetuity, forever and ever. And he kicked this game. And instead of Lord Jamal taking that game and running with it, he sat up under him, man, for several more years. Not just him. Mazon. All these dudes. Boozy Badass. All these dudes just sat up under him. Now, Boozy and these dudes. Now, Boozy, I will give Boozy the credit. That man is one of the hardest working men in show business. And he kept taking the game and running with it. And Vlad had to keep acknowledging, yo, like every time I talk to you, you doing something new and something amazing. It's not the conversation he was having with a lot of other people. A lot of other people, they was just in the same place they was when he would talk to them previously. And they would just talk about more worldly stuff, as opposed to the conversation being half about worldly, what's going on, world events, and half about, yo, you really out here killing it and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. And Boozy was constantly doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. If you're going to hang around people from, other cultures and stuff, it should be so you can absorb the good things about what they do, their organizational techniques, business acumen, whatever, and bring it back to your culture. Not so you could just say, look, I'm hanging around with this big guy. Look, I'm popular now. Look, hey, what about me? Hey, book my band. Hey. Like, Lord Jamal, what the fuck, bro? Lord Jamal, what the fuck, bro? Lord Jamal, what the fuck, bro? And then, like, it took for him to have to completely disrespect Minister Farrakhan for people to be like, all right, you know what, this is too much. How many other black men has this man disrespected over the years? Y'all sat there. Black women he disrespected over the years, and y'all sat there. Sat there in his fucking face. Ha, and then he. This is disgusting. So now for you to come out on your platform that you finally are pushing, thank goodness, and say that another man doesn't have the right to give black women advice. They should come get it from you. Ha. Why should they come get it from you? Why, Lord Jamal? Why? Based on what? What experience do you have in that field, sir? When have you ever had a segment on your show where you've done relationship stuff or you've talked about the issues in our community to that degree on a consistent basis? Talking about it once in a while when it's a big topic in the news and the media is one thing. But to be constantly a person trying to bring the black man and black woman back together into relationships, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, etc., to bring community relations back to that level. When was that your objective, Lord Jamal? And I don't mean it to be like, okay, so what? That wasn't his thing. But then why the freak would you be going on your platform talking about women should come and get that advice from you? So you are if you're inexperienced in that area, don't you think your lack of experience and your huge ego could fuck shit up even worse? Lack of experience and a huge ego and I think I should do it mentality. I don't care if I don't have the skills to do this. I don't care if I don't have the talent to do this. I don't care if I don't have the results to do this because I haven't been doing this. I don't care if I don't know any techniques. I don't know how to coordinate events in that arena and put things together and put people in the right rooms and make sure everything is good around. I don't care if I don't know how to do none of that. I think I should do it because I don't think you should. Grown men sounding like petulant children. Grown men sounding like petulant children. Instead of figuring out a way to work together, they figuring out ways to hate. I'm really disgusted with what I'm seeing going on. I truly am. Because now, if he was out here doing something fucked up to the community, now that's one thing. If he's out here saying bad stuff, giving women bad advice, giving men bad advice, because he gave men advice for like 3.5 years before he even started trying to address women on a more consistent basis. And no one had a problem with that. No one had a problem with him telling men that they need to stop living at their mama's house, that they need to have 2 and 3 jobs, that they don't need sleep. They need to just be working all the time. If they broke but they got free time, then something is drastically wrong in their life, no one cared. No one cared. No one cared. But the minute he telling women they need to get their act together, oh, he's mean, his tone is wrong. Like, so men have to step up and do the work and be the best version of themselves for women. And that is a completely fine premise and concept that we seem to, as a society, as a globe, are completely fine with. We need men to be able to step up, step to the plate, be providers, be protectors, be supportive, be consistently there to nurture and guide. But don't tell the women what to do. If what Malcolm X said was accurate and a nation can rise no higher than its woman, then and a mother is the first teacher of the child, and the lessons she gives the child are the lessons that child then goes out and into the world with. What else can we do but give some type of guidance and thoughts, words of encouragement, words of concern to people who have such a huge responsibility, such a huge responsibility in their hands. The rearing of our communities, the rearing of our nations goes through moms. Think about it. If it's a 2-family household, dad goes to work or dad runs his own companies. Even a dad who runs his own company, who may have some more free time to be around the home, is still going to be out and about a lot of the time, handling things, getting things taken care of for the family. The mother's going to be there with the children, providing them all of that guidance, love, and nurturing for their first formative years of life. The message, the information, the love that she shares with that child is the information, the message, and the love that child will go and share with the rest of the world. But on the flip side of that, if there's a lack of information or if there's no love, then that child will go out to the world with no information and or no love, seeking love in places that he or she shouldn't, that the child shouldn't. Gangs, relations with people that are far too old or far too mature for the child. This happens all the time. So we got people trying to get our communities back together so we don't have to have mothers trying to do it by themselves, kids just being dropped off with any type of daycare or any type of family's house or a cousin's or a friend's house, and kids being exposed to all these insane environments because of a lack of stability in our community. And we have somebody trying to bring some stability back to our community, like Jawanza Kunjufu did, and nobody listened. Like, not nobody, but he didn't get this level of attention at all. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing didn't get this level of attention at all. And again, Dr. Welsing did the whole tour, did all the tours. Dr. Shahrazad Ali did all the tours. Ayanna Van Zant is now trying to tell women that this shit is crazy. So it's not. I don't like this narrative that no one else has tried to bring this message. The fact is that unless it's been harsh and real and cold, ain't nobody been listening. And we always make an excuse for why it's okay not to listen. Every 30 or so years when this message come around, we always make an excuse why it's okay not to listen. And I hope we've ran out of excuses, and I hope we're ready to now get some new results in our lives. Real talk. Real talk, man. I really hope we are ready for some real results in our lives, because this is nonsense. This is absolutely nonsense. Absolute nonsense. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back. Yeah. Yeah. We back. Season 2 in full effect, man. And I'm so appreciative to everybody that been rocking and vibing and supporting. Few words on Kwame Brown really quick, but I'm going to have a more in-depth conversation about it on Sunday's broadcast. But a few words about Kwame Brown really quick, right? Well, maybe not so quick. Just bear with me, gang. Love it. It could be anywhere else in the world, but y'all take your time to be here with me, and I truly do appreciate it, right? So Kwame Brown has been, in the past 2 weeks or so, getting a lot of media attention and notoriety again because for whatever reason, while Jeannie Buss was on the All the Smoke podcast, she brought up Kwame Brown, and then Matt Barnes said some really unnecessary comments about Kwame Brown not, being an important part of the trade that Jeannie Buss had to do to bring over Pau Gasol. Wow. Jeannie herself really didn't want to add Kwame to the trade. She thought that Kwame was an integral part of what they were doing in LA. So, it's just very interesting. Many people forget that the night that Kobe had 81, Kwame Brown had 18 and 10 that same game. So, he wasn't doing nothing. So, Kobe, and you see these old clips about Stephen A. saying Kobe need to be quiet and hush about Kwame being traded. So if Kobe himself felt the ways about Kwame being traded, how could he be this bust? I don't understand that. If Kobe himself liked the way the kid played, and wanted the kid to be in the league, then wanted the kid to be on the Lakers, wanted the young man to be on the Lakers at that time, that Kobe doesn't really like playing with players who don't play hard, who don't work hard, and who don't consistently bring it night after night. And despite what we might have felt about the man's skill level, it's obvious if a player of that caliber is like, yo, whatever y'all feel about him in the media, whatever the world at large feels about this young brother, I need him on my team for doing whatever specific things I feel help me and make me as an individual, make our organization collectively successful. So whatever we feel, to have such high praise and accolades thrown your way, man. I mean, I think it says a lot. To essentially be done with a stellar career, 13 to play 12, 10, 11, 12, 13 years, whatever the exact amount of time adds up to play that long of a stretch in the league. Man, that says a lot. That says a lot about you as a person. Number one, about your talent level, about your demeanor, your character. Because you have to be likable for people to want to work around you for that long a period of time. You have to be a nice enough person where people, see you lose an opportunity in one place and like, well, I'll give him another opportunity over here because I liked him. I liked his character. I liked his personality. I liked his demeanor. He was well spoken. He was quiet. Whatever it was, he just put his head down and worked. He comes in. He works hard. He doesn't ask for extra. Whatever the reasoning might be, he's the number one pick. People are going to continue to give him chances over and over and over. You don't become the number one pick for nothing. And despite you not working out in a particular situation, other people can see the talent and potential clearly in you and will give you more chances if you have shown flashes of brilliance or flashes of greatness. The gentleman clearly had to show enough flashes of brilliance or greatness to continue to make his way from team to team to team and be something teams felt would be beneficial to add to their roster, and not just as a practice player or as a G League player, but as a player who played, or a D League player, but as a player who really got to play on the senior team or the winter team, whatever you want to consider it, for the vast majority of his career. As a starter for the vast majority of his career. Not sure what else to say. Yeah, so I salute him from a playing standpoint, an athletic standpoint. And now so Gilbert Arenas made it seem like he can't play. Whatever, his hands too little. What all this nonsense. Matt Barnes went entirely too far. And Matt Barnes, Matt Barnes, I'm sure you could fight. I'm sure you're really nice with your hands and all that. But Matt Barnes, this dude is like 6'10", 270, 200. Stop. Like, chill out, bro. You're not Bruce Leroy. It's not gonna end well for you. Like, you want to put him in some type of controlled environment so he can't kick you, he can't grab you. Oh, nah, you just want him to just be able to just jab, uppercut, and do some bobbing and weaving with you. He might not be the coordinated individual that you are at your size and slenderness, and that might be the arena in which you have the advantage. But don't sit here and play like in a street fight. You would really tear this man apart, because you would not. You would not. That's a lie. That's hyperbole. That's trying to game people. That's hyping shit up. That's not true. You just don't. Come on, bro. Really? Bro. I've seen Kwame Brown in 2K. This nigga had the power joint. Okay? The nigga had the hand joint and the power. Like, he was a power player, meaning he was one of the dudes that could move the gym, bro. Like, stop it. Dwight Howard kind of player. Like, he's a power player. When he was at his peak in the league, and when they started putting out those attribute tokens under players to say, oh, this player is really good at 3-pointers. This player's really good at, oh, he's really good at passing. This player's handles is an ankle breaker. This dude had the power icon. You put him around the basket. He was yamming it on whoever. He was moving whoever out the way. It didn't matter. 10 feet in, Kwame was good. So if he was that nice in the video game, he had to be nice in real life. Like, I don't understand. And then people played the video game with him and acted like they didn't see that he had power, high level power attribute icons associated with him. So irregardless of the media's narrative about him as a player, you clearly see that people who really analyze the game and people who replicate the game for your home entertainment are saying this dude is nice. And we just look at that and then we still say whatever the fuck they tell us to say on TV. We're stupid as hell, man. We're stupid as hell. So anyway, you got people like Gilbert Arenas, who's supposed to be his former teammate, running their mouth crazy. Steven Jackson, also supposed to be his former teammate, running their mouth crazy. I don't understand it. But anyway, both of y'all should have checked Matt Barnes. Both of y'all should have told Matt to chill, but y'all didn't. And now here we are, which is cool, because I think that a person like Kwame Brown brings a balance and a different perspective from an NBA player. So many of our NBA players talk the same way, but then you have the Charles Barkleys of the world who give a different perspective, and we tell him to shut up. Oh, he's old, he's this, he's that. Kwame Brown not old. Kwame Brown is contemporary. Kwame Brown, he's still kind of young. He's still kind of hip, mid-30s and stuff at this time in his life, almost 40s. So, he's still kind of young. So when he talks this stuff, it's like, okay, he ain't some super old dude. Excuse me. Pardon me. He ain't some super old dude. He's not some super old guy. just trying to act all back in my day. Nah, Kwame Brown played now. You know, he's you know, the kids in the league now played as, again, like he was in the video games, man. Stop, man. Come on, man. What are we talking about, man? This is ridiculous. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. He has a right to grill them, say whatever the hell he want, and they need to shut the fuck up and just deal with it, man. They should have left him alone. He wasn't bothering a soul. Leave people alone. Let sleeping dogs lie. Don't wake sleeping giants. This man is literally almost 7 feet tall. He's literally the epitome of a sleeping giant. The man was minding his business, collecting his retirement checks, running his, I see he has some successful establishments in the Georgia area. This man is living a life that many people would dream and would fondly dream to live. I want my own action figure, my own restaurants. I would keys to the cities. I mean, from very humble beginnings, man. That's what you hope to achieve and accomplish, and be able to teach your sons how you did it, and not only your sons, but help the community as a whole see how you did those things. I mean, he's making some very good points. He had a narrative in one of his podcast episodes the other day where he was like, yo, he feels like LeBron is a great example of success. LeBron married his high school sweetheart. They established a family. They built a brand, built a business. They taking care of the kids together. No, I'm sure it ain't perfect. Everything ain't sweet every day, but they have committed themselves to building up the James family name. They children all are being raised in a single home. That doesn't make it perfect. That doesn't mean things are not gonna happen. But when you see Brony smoking a little butt online, it's like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Brony, he ain't in no gangs. Bro, as far as we know, I'm sure he's a part of some little clickies. Because all these young teens is a part of some clique here and theirs. But I mean, he's not really out here doing nothing crazy. And that is literally the epitome of what happens when you have a 2-family home. He can focus on more positive things. He can focus on doing better and going further in his life. The daughters, Bryce Maximus, and I can't remember the little baby girl's name, but Bryce Maximus looked like he gonna be brilliant and a killer on the court. Bryce Maximus looked like he gonna be way nicer than Bronny. You know what I mean? Way nicer than Bronny. Like, Bryce Maximus looked like he's going to be the one that carries on the family name as far as the hoop go. And that's dope. And then the baby girl, like, she looked like she gonna have, take the world by storm with all her little creative things in the kitchen and, all the creative stuff she do, like from a home decor, home making, home design perspective. Like, we need more of that, man. Like, we need more family structure in our community. The family structure is so torn and broken down in American society at large, but it's so much more in the black and brown communities all around this world. Like the copper colored communities, the indigenous communities, the autochthonous communities, whatever you calling yourself, the Moorish community, the African American community, the Islamic community. Like, there is a serious issue with not having a joint home for these children, man. It's bad. It's really, really, really bad. We gotta stop. And for him to have the bravery, you know what I'm saying? Because it's stepping out and doing something that other people ain't doing when you in your position, and that could really get you caught up there. Like, that's brave, man. Like, you gotta give somebody their flowers for doing that. He didn't have to do that. He's 1,000% right. We need more dudes marrying. We need more families. We need more families. We need more families. Now, I don't know if every young male is ready right out of high school, and perhaps if a girl can't find a male her age who's ready, she should think about dating in the age gap, dating somebody who's maybe 10 to 12, even 15 years her senior. If she can't find a young man who's really ready, who's really about that life, because a lot of these young men are not being raised to be men and not being raised to take care of a family. If they were being raised to take care of a family, to take care of a woman, you know, it might be different. But, you know, a lot of that training has got to be brought back into the homes. And the only way that'll be brought back into the homes is if it exists in the homes for the children to see. Like, you got to have a two-parent home for children to understand how that works. You know what I'm saying? How to work with somebody else and build with somebody else and live with somebody else and go through trials and tribulations with somebody else. Things being good, things being bad. Learning how to prioritize the important things of life with somebody else, with a partner. Children only get to see it if they get to see it, and children only get to see how it can work if the people doing it are willing to make it work and willing to show children a positive cohabitation or positive teamwork. You know what I'm saying? So just I think he's spot on about a lot, but I'm gonna get into it even heavier as I continue to dig in with it and see how this thing unfolds. You guys have been great, man. It's your boy Phantm Fuego, Phantm Phuego. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Wednesdays and Sundays is when we get to it. You know how we do it. It ain't nothing to it. Please continue to donate to the show. Give, guys. I so appreciate every single person who has been helping out and everything you guys have been doing. It's all going and investing into the show, and you will be very pleasantly surprised with how things unfold for season 2 and beyond. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful. I'm so humbled. You guys are amazing. It's your boy Phantm Fuego. This is his ghetto point of view, bringing you the news, views, previews, and reviews with just a twist of his ghetto point of view. Ooh. I'm out of here. See you guys on Sunday. Peace.